cautious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello and welcome to the Rotherham United podcast. Again, we should be talking about a game that we're not going to talk about the game because we can't because of another postponement. We'll come on to that in more detail in a minute. Ben's here with us. You look tired today, Ben. You all right, mate?
Yeah.
Okay. And Mick's with us as well. How's it going, Mick?
Yeah, I'm pretty well. I've disconnected Surrey, so she'll be making an appearance tonight, hopefully.
Yeah. Are you still buzzing over your birthday message from Paul Warren?
I am, to be honest. Yeah, I'm quite surprised at how pleasing it was. It was a real surprise, obviously. Definitely weren't expecting it, but I can see why people are so sort of enjoy it so much. It's just fantastic. It really is. And I know. You know, ultimately, it's great PR for the club and everything else. But I don't know. It's something that you just don't expect, innit? You know what I mean? From a championship manager. It's bizarre. It's bizarre.
I've never seen a video from another football club that does that.
No. And I'll be honest with you, it means a lot. It really does mean a lot because you know we all sort of spend our lives following the club from sort of cradle to grave almost. You know what I mean? And to sort of have it recognised by somebody of that stature within the club is special. It is special.
Yeah, I agree. So happy birthday for last week, Mick.
Does
that mean as much? Oh, not
did I tell you I got an Apple Watch?
You did tell me you got an Apple Watch, yeah. Not bragging at all.
I just thought I'd point that out. I don't know how to work it yet, but
we could tell from last episode that you don't know how to work it.
I've got a lovely Rotherham United badge on it, but you can't see it.
No, especially people that have just on audio. Yeah, that looks cool.
So that will come across really, really well on the audio podcast.
I thought so. The big and only news really is that we were obviously meant to play Coventry. At time of recording for the last episode, we'd only cancelled. I don't think we cancelled the Coventry game. I'm certain we hadn't cancelled it. It got cancelled pretty early though, Ben. When it Monday or Tuesday? I think it was Monday. It got cancelled. It was a very early move and a very, very proactive move by the EFL to allow us to cancel it so early. I thought it was pretty good, really.
Well, it must be. What else are we supposed to do? Play with 9 men? We're not subs.
With the other option is to do what happened against Barnsley.
Yeah, but I think it's probably bigger than that. To be honest, this time, I think there's more players that got it because I don't see why they forced us to play other game and then not this one. So I think it must be bigger. But I hope everyone's all right. But it is what it is. It's at the minute, innit? They're fit footballers, so they should be right. But
yeah, I think one is advertised here. There's a few that's been badly with it. I don't know. We obviously don't know how badly, and rightly so. It also advertised that we're open to open up the training ground today. Which, if they're able to open up the training ground today, that would put us in an all right position, assuming the Watford game goes ahead. But that's a different kettle of fish. I think we said on the episode on Monday, Mick, that as long as the Coventry game goes ahead, there won't really be any problems fixture congestions wise. And then the game got cancelled, and now we're in a situation where it's not far off a nightmare. From a footballing point of view, it's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, it is. It is. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what we're going to be able to do or what the EFL are going to do in terms of rescheduling the fixtures. I'm assuming, and I don't know, and this is perhaps my old man cynical side coming out. I can't imagine for 1 second the season there'll be. Well, I imagine that they will be very rigid with the season end date. I imagine that they'll be very rigid with the international break, and I guess it's just going to end up getting fitted in somewhere. The worry is if this is as bad as it sounds, and it does move over into next week, and if the Watford game goes as well, then there's going to be some problems. There are problems, as you say, already, but if the Watford game goes as well, then who knows what they're going to do? Who knows?
Well, yeah, I think playing four games a week once, Ben, is not acceptable. Is not the right word, but you could get over it. If we then had to play 2 weeks, 4 games, so 8 games in 14 days, it would. I don't even think that's possible.
Well, when's end date meant to be at season?
8th of May. 8th of May.
When's starting next season?
August 7th or 8th. Yeah.
What the hell? That's 2 months. Why? We don't need
That's not
2 months off. 3 months. 3 months.
Whatever.
3 months, isn't it?
It's a lot of months. Several months.
3 months. 3 months. Like
Yeah.
what? Why do you need 3 months off? You
It's
don't
the
need
Euros,
3
isn't
months
it?
off.
It's the Euros.
Like, no, wait, yeah, but
and
it's a lot of
it's also the
champions.
playoffs. The playoffs are effectively set in stone. You've got a date at
Yeah,
Wembley,
but
and
if we-
especially with,
If we're playing Coventry, they're not going to be playoffs. We're not going to be playoffs. So what's?
but that's irrelevant. Our last game of the season's Cardiff. They will be in and around the playoffs.
Yeah, well, we can play Cardiff. I don't see why we can't add another week on, because there's usually a week, 2 week bit before playoffs anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't get what crack is about this. I don't get why it's so rigid. I think for this year they need to make exceptions.
But
Maybe
they
next.
We said this, and we can. It's easy for us to say now we're in this position, but I'd be with it saying they should have dropped the EFL Trophy this season.
Yeah.
They should the EFL Cup, sorry, the Carabao Cup. That wasted 1 weekend at the start of the season plus 4 more midweeks in September that we weren't allowed to play in because the other teams were playing in the cups. Yeah, it was nice to have a rest back then, but they were 4 weeks or whatever it was to be able to chuck 1 or 2 more games in, and then nobody would be in this position at all. It doesn't make any sense
The issue is that it's only us that's in this position
at the minute.
And whilst I accept that there's been loads of garbage spoken about, this, that, and the other, points deductions and blah 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 blah, which is just white noise ultimately. There is a genuine question to be asked, but there is only one. There is only one question, and that is how it happened. Depending on the answer to that, there might be some other questions to ask, but I think we can all. I accept that we're biased. I know that we're biased about our club and everything else, but I think we can all be pretty sure that all the protocols have been followed by the club. I'll be amazed if that's not the case. In which case, there is only one question, isn't there? Has it happened? Somebody's been at the supermarket and got sneezed on, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can happen. It can happen in any workplace at any time, and does up and down the country, day in, day out. When people are working in such close proximity, you get one with it, you get a couple with it. That's just how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
So as long as, I don't know whether you're going to come on to this, I've kind of stumbled across the sort of what's the AFL going to do with Rotherham, haven't I? So I apologise if you were going to cover it, but there is only that one question. How has it happened?
And it's lucky that Wednesday hasn't been affected. In all seriousness, we played with Sheffield Wednesday last week when some of these players would have had COVID. Some of them.
Yeah.
It's lucky from a Wednesday point of view that that's not, thankfully, not moved across to them. And that is pure luck. That's not they've been extra careful when they played us. That's just pure luck that they ain't got it as well.
You said that, but they had to be close to people, and they never got within 2 meters of any of us, did they, all game? So
that's true.
That wasn't such an issue, really.
Yeah.
Throw that one in.
Ben, I think the points deduction. We're not going to get a points deduction. It's been said as much in Advertiser in more and better words than we would put. At any point, do you think a points deduction would have been a valid? If let's say we had broken guidelines, would a points deduction been valid?
I think if we brought guidelines, then there's no other choice, because if we brought guidelines, we brought it on ourselves. So I think a point deduction, but I don't think that's the case, like Mick said. I hope it's not the case. I really think it's not the case, but if it is, if we have broken, then I don't see why not. But yeah, if we haven't,
we ain't gained a sporting advantage though, have we? Is my point. We literally haven't gained a sport. If anything, we're now worse off because of the fixture congestion. So we've already been punished enough, haven't we? From a sporting point of view.
True.
Well, you can look at this.
Go on.
Yeah, I was just saying, you got to look at this sort of very unscientifically, and Rotherham supporters, as a general rule, are all talking about the disadvantage that we're at. You know, nobody's sort of making comments about, you know, oh, it's great, we're going to have all these games in hand. Hey, you know, we can see what everybody else is doing. We know what we've got to do. Nobody's saying that. That's just not the topic of conversation. You know, it's all about how we're going to fit all this in. So it's quite depressing, to be honest. You know,
the good thing is that we're in an all right position. If we'd played the same amount of games as Birmingham, we'd be saying it's not end of the world. We're only a point off safety. But you know, there's plenty of time to come back. We're now in a situation where, because we've put ourselves in terms of points position in an all right position. That's the only thing. If we'd lost to Wednesday, then we'd be having a very different conversation, wouldn't we? That win is now absolutely huge for more reasons than it was on the night. We can afford some of these games in hand. We can afford to lose a couple of them, but then that adds pressure onto the other games. But some of them are winnable. You know what I mean? It goes round in circles. You could talk about this all night. It's bad because we've got to play 4 games a week, but then it's good because we're going to have loads of players back. But it's bad because we're playing Brentford really, really close to end of season, but it's good because they might have nothing to play for. There's a good and a bad to basically everything that you could possibly think, isn't there?
Yeah. So it's going to be all right then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Balance it out, should be all right. It's not quite that simple, is it?
No, we've got 2 games left before international break anyway. Watford is meant to be on Tuesday, and then Bristol City away on the 20th, so next Saturday. Then is the international break. Does the international break benefit us now, Ben? Bear in mind we've had this situation where the players who are not ill have had a rest. Some of them obviously haven't because they've been ill. But how do you think the international break will suit us?
I don't really know. It's hard to tell. Like, it's hard because we don't know the players. Like, some of them might just go and sit down and sit on settee for like 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? And not train. And put
I think they've got to train.
I don't know. You don't know them, do you?
Schedules.
Yeah, but you don't.
Well, it's like remember that Christmas morning, it lets them stay at home, where he makes them go on a run and makes them film them while they're on a run and stuff like that. It'd be similar to that. And they can do Zoom stuff, can't they?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to tell, but I think it probably will be. You know, we're not playing every 2 days, so that's got to be a positive. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so hard to tell, man. Without being in club or being in the atmosphere, do you know what I mean? But I think it can't do any harm.
Yeah, I probably agree. Make your thoughts on international break. Other than we probably should be having one.
We should be playing. You know, we should be playing a game. We've got a ridiculous situation, realistically, an utterly ridiculous situation where we've got a backlog of games and the Mecca's have 2 weeks off.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
When you put it like that, that sounds absolutely mad.
It is. Which is another reason why, even if we've done something wrong, they can't give us a points deduction because we could play that week. Justifiably so. You know, you take. You know, supposing they give us a points deduction, and we then we appeal that to an independent tribunal, and we say, well, there's 2 weeks here we could have played these games, but they wouldn't let us.
Yeah,
independent tribunal's going to go, well, why wouldn't you let them play? There's no reason why they can't play.
I think we can play, but it would have to be agreed by whichever team you played. Yeah. And why would any team agree to that realistically? If you're Coventry, you're not going to agree to it because you want to play Rotherham on a Thursday night or on a Tuesday night when they play Thursday. Or Brentford want to play. I know we're not much respect to Brentford, but they'll still want to play us at our weakest, realistically.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That's not a dig at any of those clubs. It's just we've been doing exactly the same.
Of course. Absolutely.
The issue comes that if at some point in the next couple of weeks, I don't know, let's say Luton have a COVID outbreak, then there becomes questions. Because there's a knock-on effect. It's all right saying, it only affects Rotherham. Well, it also affects Coventry, we've got to play. It also affects Luton, it also affects Brentford.
Well, this is the case, isn't it? If we I don't know who we've got left, say Cardiff, they have COVID outbreak end of the season, well,
I thought
what's going to happen then? If we can't end it season, because, precious little playoffs, we can't move them back 2 weeks, so we can't play. Yeah. So screwed up massively, EFL. No sympathy whatsoever. They blow on themselves. I mean, and they'll probably take it out on us and other clubs because that's EFL. But it is what it is.
It's the year that they needed to be the most flexible
this season. Yeah. It's not. It cannot be hard. It honestly can't be hard. I don't know why people can't do it properly. It cannot be a hard international break. We haven't got no one playing. Change the rules for one season. It's not a normal year, so why should they have normal rules? It's an abnormal year following normal rules. Why is that? How does that make sense?
On a shortened season. In time-wise, shortened season. We started a month late. I accept they couldn't move the Euros, and I don't have a problem with that. That's the second biggest tournament in world football. It needed to be played, but there could have been some sort of flexibility within, particularly international breaks. EFL Cup shouldn't have been played because fans weren't going to go. We all realistically didn't think that fans were going to be able to go at full stadium for EFL Cup final. So what point, realistically? Yeah. It doesn't make any sense, but the EFL seems to be quite accommodating right now to us, which is a positive, an unexpected positive. I didn't see that coming at all.
No.
But we'll come back to this, and we will always come back to this. I hope everybody's all right, all the players. Everybody has been badly with it. I hope it is mildly bad with it, and back to full health as soon as possible. And if training ground has been reopened on Thursday, then we will be in an okay position. So depending on the numbers, we'll be in an all right position for Tuesday. I know it's going to be a tough game against Watford, but that depends on testing. There's another round of testing due on Thursday to take place on Thursday, I think. So if we end up with 3 or 4 more cases, then we are screwed again. Then Tuesday will be off.
Yeah.
It's not great fun at the minute, but we are where we are, aren't we? And in not just as a football club, but as a sort of country in the world at the minute.
Yeah.
Roll in August. That's what I said.
7th of August.
Yeah.
Well, that's positive, isn't it? We'll be in next year.
Yeah.
I'm confident of that, so I don't care. I'll take anything this year. Even if I have to go down just to be in full stadiums, I don't care.
It wouldn't end up well. If we went down a bit, it would obviously be gutted. But
I think
we'd be back to where we started, wouldn't we?
Yeah, well, this is a different conversation, but I don't want to go down because one will get forced out if we go down.
I don't think so.
I think he will get forced out and we'll lose half at club. But yeah, I don't want to go down. But if it means being able to go back full stadium with everyone in, that first home game next year is going to be electrifying.
Yeah,
it is. It's going to be a hell of an atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely hell of an atmosphere.
England win Euros in summer, and then we'll walk back into New York on 7th of August. Happy days. That'd make up for the last 18 months, wouldn't it? Well, maybe just.
Nah, just. England winning it at Wembley. Wow.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. We have not got much to talk about this week because, as we say, not much has happened. Couple of things. We are going to put on our Twitter page today. There'll be a Fan Hub tweet out. If you haven't already signed up to the Fan Hub app, download it through the App Store or Google Play, or whatever it is. You will go into a queue of about 800 people, but if you check our Twitter page, there's 10 people that will be able to get early access to the app. You won't be able to use it till we play next. We predict your team lineup and check in for games and things like that. We've all got it. And I think there's 15 Rotherham fans that are already on our leaderboard. So get involved with that, and then we sort of rank each other. I think eventually the idea is you get prizes away for basically following teams. And next season it measures your miles and things such as that. They're doing some really cool stuff over at Fan Hub, so do download that if you haven't already, and then head over to Twitter or Facebook. There'll be a code, and if you're one of the first 10, you'll get early access to it. We won't be able to get any players on for the international break like was planned, I don't think. We are working on another project for next month. Next month is the 25th anniversary of the Auto Windscreen Shield final, as Mick remembers well.
Oh, God.
So what we're trying to do is get as many players on as possible, and some fans as well, some of you guys who are listening, to basically tell us about your memories of the day. Me and Ben I'm ever slightly too young, and Ben's definitely too young.
Wow. He's double my age. He's nearly the
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What? Double your age?
No, never mind.
No, you're miles off on that.
10 years or so. Past before even I was even.
That's that fake maths GCSE coming in there.
Yeah. But we're going to make a bit of a show of it. We spoke to the club, and the club aren't doing anything because they did a 20th anniversary. On the 20th, we've got all players. I'm sure most people remember went to New York. But we want to do a bit of a thing for it because it's a big moment, Mick, weren't it? The first trip to Wembley for Rotherham and the first win at Wembley.
Yeah.
And there's people my age and Ben's age who don't really remember it, so I think it might be cool to go through it and show everybody how important it was for the club.
Massive. It was massive for the club. And it was start of a 75% success rate in Wembley appearances, weren't it? So 4 appearances, 3 wins.
Yeah. That's right.
75%. I got my O-level maths, Ben. So yeah, no, it was a big thing, and we got some fantastic players playing for us at that time as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So that's the plan. We've already got two players that have agreed to do it already, and we're working on basically the rest of the 11. We're trying to try and get as many as the 11 on as we can, just to give us their thoughts of the cup run and the win itself, and things such as that. I suspect we won't get everybody. Paul Hurst, bear in mind, is managing Grimsby at bottom of League 2. I'm not sure he'll have time to go reminisce about the good old days. I'm not sure that'll go down right well.
He's got bigger fish to fry a minute, hasn't he, Hurst?
Yeah. But yeah, that's something we're working on. Actually, 16th of April is the anniversary date, so we've got a month. We'll be probably using the international break to do that, to speak to as many as possible. So if anybody can help us with that, I'll have put a shout. If anybody's got any contacts with any of the players on the day, we've got some of them, but we are asking around. The club have been really helpful with a few things. They've sent us a phone number of a player and so on and so on. So if anybody's got any details of anybody, do a direct message on Twitter and Facebook, because we would really appreciate any help so we can make it as good as possible. Ben, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't. You told me some of the names. Paul Hurst, probably the only person I remember that I know of anyway.
You'll have heard of Darren Garner, surely.
I've heard of him. I don't. That's it. I've seen some of the names on the team sheet. No, I've not a clue. Not a clue.
Oh, I'll read about
it.
For a throwback for everybody. I'll get the list up now, and because there's some very good old school but very good players, Nick, weren't there?
Was Sean Gore on there?
It was, yes.
Yeah, I know that.
You've got Matt Clark, Paul Blades was a right back, and then Paul Hurst at left back, Ian Brecken and Neil Richardson, Sean Goodwin and Darren Garner in the middle, Andy Roscoe and Trevor Berry, and then Nigel Jemson and Sean Gosa. And then there was a few on the bench, Gary Bowyer, Andy Hayward and John McGlashan, who actually sadly passed away recently. But in the programme, I've been doing a bit of research in the programme. They've got Gary Bowyer's name wrong. They've put him down as Ian Bowyer on the official programme of the day. So that was 1996, then, isn't it?
Yeah. Poor lad. I didn't realise that John McGlashan had passed away, to be honest. It's really
Yeah,
sad
2 or
news.
3 years ago, I think it were.
Hell of a player. I really like John McGlashan as a player. Really good player. So, yeah, sad.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, we'll get as many of them. We'll try and get in touch with Archie Gemmell and John McGovern as well, but I'm not sure how successful that'll be there, and they're quite big names. And that's the only one season. Was it the 1 or 2 seasons with us?
I can't remember. It was only a short period of time. So I think that was just about the only success they had, really.
Well, Danny Bigera came out the year after, didn't it?
Yeah. No, that went well, didn't it?
Yeah. Ben, we could talk about something you want to talk about if you want, mate. It's fine. We don't have to talk about 1996 all the time.
I ain't got anything to talk about. I'll talk about 1996.
I wasn't there. Obviously, I grew up with pictures on the wall of it, but I didn't go to the final itself. So if you've got any memorabilia, Mick, if you've got any scarves, I remember you used to have a sticker in one of your old cars about Wembley, didn't you?
I can't remember.
I think a Radio Sheffield sticker. I can't remember now.
No.
That's
helpful. That either. Can't remember that. Listen, I'm just about at a stage where breakfast this morning, I can just about probably remember what it was I had to eat. Anything beyond that, it's all a bit of a blur, to be honest.
Well, that's a slight problem
since
you're the only one of the three of us that went. I was sort of relying on you for a bit of help.
Why?
Bit of knowledge.
How long have you known me? How long have you known? And then yet you still expect me to remember something? It just, oh, mate, you're not paying attention, are you?
In that case, if anybody out there went to the game, I'm sure there was. Do you remember how many thousand went, Mick? 15,000, something like that.
I think it was about 26,000 in my head. There was a hell of a lot. I think it was the biggest Wembley. I think, and I'll stand corrected on this. I'm sure somebody will correct me. I think it was the biggest Wembley attendance we'd had in the 4 times that we've been. It was certainly over 20,000.
Wow.
So yeah, it was, and it was obviously the old Wembley as well, which was a proper shed. So yeah.
Not the one with the lasagna in it, then.
No, I had a bridge to walk out there. I don't know whether you've seen the old Wembley where they walked out. They walked out the tunnel, which was at. If you're looking at the new Wembley now, if you look where behind the goal was like 100 yards worth of nothingness, and they walked out from there all across this bridge and to centre circle. I never went, but it were a famous walk, wasn't it?
It was. I don't remember a bridge, but
it was not. It's not a bridge. It was like a. They didn't just walk up gravel, did they?
They were a walk. They were a little walkway.
Walkway.
Yeah.
Bridge.
Well, I couldn't think of a word.
Bridges usually over water, Matt.
Right, they weren't a moat.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what a moat is. Anyway, that's getting off topic big time. So if anybody went and wants to get involved with this, we want as many memories as we can. Like I said, it's 25 years ago, and people like me and Ben don't really remember it. So we want as many memories as we can from the day.
How would I remember it? I weren't even close to being alive.
I know. That's why I said.
Remember it.
That's why I said.
Yeah, but you said remember.
Do you remember it? Don't worry about it then. Yeah, that's the plan. There's lots of nuts and bolts and stuff to go into that, but I think that'd be really cool if we can pull that off. We'll try anyway.
Yeah.
That is all I've got. We've gone very short this week. Have you two got anything else you want to mention or talk about?
No.
There's no point, is there? The only thing that we could talk about, we can go on and talk about all the social media nonsense. I know somebody mentioned on there in response to tonight's recording about the fact that we've maybe gathered a few more rivals this season.
Yeah.
As a result of what's happened, I'm not so sure, to be honest. As a Rotherham supporter, I'm not interested. I guess it'd be quite nice to think that the likes of Derby and Coventry, and I don't include Birmingham in this because the Birmingham supporters I've seen have been absolutely fantastic about it, to be honest, and likewise Brentford supporters. There
were no grief from Luton either, were there?
No, the ones it affects the most. But But it's great to see Derby lumping in. I love it. I love it. Absolutely brilliant. It's great to see Coventry lumping in as well. So yeah, I suppose I think they've created themselves an extra rival rather than us. Because genuinely, I mean, I'm sure I speak certainly for us three, to Coventry and Derby supporters, we don't care. Not interested.
No. The irony of Coventry is that they've just confirmed they're moving back to their new stadium, but they're still finding time to talk about us.
Yeah.
You've just moved back home for the first time in 2 or 3 years. Enjoy it.
Maybe it's not such a big deal going back into and playing in your own town. Certainly was for us.
Yeah.
We remember. To be fair, since we've done it, we haven't looked back. So if that happens to Coventry, then maybe they've got something else to talk about instead of banging on about other clubs. It's just pathetic. But I mean, that is the only other thing to talk about, isn't it? And I don't think anybody wants to listen to that. Really, let's be fair.
No. We'll have a quick glance at this weekend's games because again, we're not playing, but obviously everybody else will be. We'll go through the games that do affect us. At the bottom, Birmingham hosts Bristol City. Bristol City are in a good bit of form since Nigel Pearson's took over there. So hopefully Bristol City can do us a favour. Right then, mate.
Yeah. It's another club that we're about to play with new manager Bounce, isn't it?
Well, that's true. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Very
good point. Derby have got Millwall, but Derby picked up a midweek point against Barnsley, so I think Derby will pull away anyway.
And there's another one, yeah. Wayne Rooney criticising Barnsley's style of play. You know, Wayne Rooney, whose team's in 20th or whatever, criticising Barnsley who are in playoffs. I mean, I'm just asking a question, but is that valid, really?
No. But it's Wayne Rooney. I think he's new and he's trying all his tricks in it, I think.
I suppose he is, yeah.
QPR host Huddersfield. QPR have pulled away very, very nicely. They're mid-table. Huddersfield are still massively in danger, only 6 points above us. And we will have 4 games in hand to them after the weekend. And Wickham host Preston North End. Wickham, they're 9 points adrift of us. And again, we'll have 4 games in hand to them for the weekend. They're dead and buried. And Sheffield Wednesday play on Sunday, I think, this week. Piggies play. I think it's Norwich. Norwich on Sunday.
Easy game for them then.
Yeah, well, Darren Moore's still waiting for his first win and point as manager. Good luck next season to them. I don't mean that. I wish you all the worst of luck. We'll soon find out. Ben, thoughts on the weekend's games? Do you think, bearing in mind how many games have we got in hand, does it have a massive impact on us?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
If Birmingham go win on Saturday, do you think that it impacts our thought process for all our future games? Bear in mind how many games we've got left to catch up.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. Like, if they even they shouldn't be looking at stuff like that. I don't think, but I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to explain, man. Like I said, it's just hard. It's so hard to talk about the club. I think when you're not the club, our club, and when you're not in there because you don't know. Honestly, people have no idea. And when I say people, I mean us. I'm not saying like we have no idea what goes on in club. Yeah. Like, it could be an awful club. It could be so poorly run.
I'd be amazed.
I would be, but you know what I mean. It's so hard, and you see me as ask comment on stuff like this. It's like I don't know. I don't know players. Like it shouldn't do. But in the perfect world, it shouldn't do, and they should all still be training ridiculously hard. But you know what I mean. No one's perfect. So sorry for not.
They'll be putting miles in, won't they? We know that they'll be putting miles in.
Yeah.
So it's just a question of when we can get back, when they can get back training, and when we can get back playing. The only thing really as a club now that we're going to be thinking about, I would imagine, and again, like Ben says, we don't know, but is when can we play again? When are we playing again? I'm not convinced that there'll be a great deal of notice taken about what other teams do this weekend or midweek or whatever. I'm not convinced they will. Because it's in our hands. It's still in our hands. You know, we win our games, we're staying up. End of.
comfortably. We need to win them all, do we? What do we need? 18 points to get to 50. Only 6 wins, five wins and 3 draws from 14 games.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not that big an ask, really, is it?
No, it's not.
In theory. We'll end it there because we're just going to start rehashing the same old thing, aren't we?
A couple of bits and pieces, interesting bits and pieces, championship wise from this season, this week for me. We talked about Wednesday already. Their accounts came out for the 2018-19 season. They have been issued this week, and just to put a little bit of perspective on our club and how our club is run. Sheffield Wednesday's accounts show that they are in debt to the tune of £85.6 million. They are currently paying, they were paying for that period in time over 160% of their income on wages. So
Wow.
for every £100 the club earned, they were paying out 160 on wages alone. So assume now that debt has either got a bit bigger, a bit smaller, or remained the same, or whatever. If somebody wants to come in and buy that club, not only are they going to have to clear £85.6 million worth of debt, they aren't going to be buying anything.
No.
Because the person selling the club owns the ground.
Well, you're buying the name of the club, aren't you, basically?
Which is nothing. So if you think that for 1 second that is the result of the chairman digging his hand in his pocket and buying all these players to try and buy you some success.
And he got close. He got very, very close.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Close.
Yeah, but they come crashing down.
It?
It's like these are come crashing down. Like
yeah, exactly.
It's like an airplane. It's like sugar rush. It's like.
Is it like an airplane or is it like a sugar rush?
Both. Well, you go if people can't see it, right? If you go up at a really short angle, if you have loads of sugar, right? You go really high. You really exaggerate and really whatever. Same way a plane, you shoot up, right? You've got to come down even harder. The way you come down depends on the way you go up. Because if you go up in a straight line, you're gonna come down even worse. Do you know what I mean?
Unless you fluke it and
but
keep it
the
a
most
level.
successful clubs just literally go above horizontal and then never go down. Do you know what I mean?
Although if they do go down, they don't crash.
Yeah, man. This is
have you seen how much Newcastle reportedly paid in compensation for Steve Bruce?
I don't care about Newcastle. The Newcastle
£6.5 million, Ben, is the reported fee that, according to the accounts.
Well, that
£6 million for Steve Bruce.
What it says in the accounts is it's a confidential payment.
Yeah, well, it's a compensation or something like that. It comes under.
Yeah, which
is
Newcastle are denying that that's the case.
It'd be funny if it were true, though, wouldn't it?
It would be funny if it were true.
It's Matt Castle, isn't it?
I'll be honest with you. It'd be funnier if it weren't true and they had to explain what it did mean.
That's true. Yeah, but then they got paid it in, though.
Yeah. Well, where from?
It could have been for a youth player.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been. Or it could have been to pay some wages or whatever. You know what I mean? But anyway, whatever. So they are a club in absolute turmoil. And whilst it is funny up to a point, because it's Wednesday, there's a part of me that thinks maybe it's not that funny actually.
No, because they're going to go bust.
Well, we don't want to bust because we still want that derby, don't we? We still want to play them.
No, I don't want to see a football club go bust.
No,
That's fine. But they will. I think they will.
I mean, obviously, anybody that lives in Rotherham and supports Wednesday, then they deserve their club to go bust, don't they? But anybody that lives in Sheffield,
if it does go bust, they've got another club they can support if they want.
Oh God, we don't want them, do we?
Close to home, hometown.
Do we really
club
want?
and all that.
Do we really want any of them whinging and whining all the time?
If they're willing to pay Sheffield Wednesday prices, we could charge them a premium.
Yeah.
Couldn't we?
Yeah.
Are you a Rotherham Owl? Yeah. Well, that's an extra £10 on your match ticket then, please.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the piggy tax, we'll call it.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, mate. There's some mileage in this. I think we should pick this up and run straight down to New York, have a word with Tony because it's got some legs.
Yeah.
The only other thing I was going to talk about and I just mentioned was we talked about the Warnock situation in the last podcast. You know, the debacle at Swansea Middlesbrough game. As predicted, Neil Warnock has been given an FA charge of misconduct, which is remarkable. You just sit back and look at it. You take a step back and you look at. We're in a situation here whereby you're not allowed. Sorry, no, you are punished for criticising authority. I mean, when you look at the bigger picture there, it's like North Korea, isn't it? It's like communist China. It's like some sort of communist regime where you cannot question the people in authority, and if you do, you're punished. How does that work? I mean, it's just bizarre. It really is bizarre that in this day and age, an organisation is allowed to behave in that fashion. I just find it remarkable.
Who's going to stop them? Because UEFA are even more corrupt.
Well, the higher you feel, the more corrupt they are, especially in football. Other sports may not be, but certainly football is or has been corrupt in the past.
Yeah.
I think corrupt is probably the lightest word you could possibly use.
Yeah.
I think everyone who was employed in FIFA 10 years ago is either in federal prison or living
or dead,
dead or selling cars somewhere. In a farm somewhere, off the map completely. So,
what kind of cars do you sell off a farm?
I'm not.
I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like off the map type thing.
Did you say cars or calves?
Well, calves would have made sense.
I don't know.
Calves. You could have got away with that.
Calves. What's calves?
Baby cows, mate. Baby cows, little cows, baby cows.
We gave you a way out of that one, mate.
I would not sell male ones.
Baby ones grow into big ones?
Yeah, exactly. So I would not wait to get old meat off them.
Where are we going with this?
Sure. I enjoy when Ben goes off on a little bit of a mini rant because he sometimes tries a bit of an analogy or whatever, and it sometimes doesn't make any sense. And I like
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, mate.
Yeah.
You've got to try. God loves a try, doesn't he?
Exactly. So we're going to end there because I don't know. We've got 40 odd minutes out of this. Sorry if we've waffled on everybody. We've tried to keep it similar length as everybody as other times. So hopefully it's still been as enjoyable. Either as enjoyable or more enjoyable. That's the aim every week. Unsurprisingly, there will be no post-match show this weekend because there is no match, so there will be no post-match. We will be back on Monday morning for a preview. In theory, we're going to be looking ahead to the Watford game. If there's no Watford game, we'll still come again to talk about the fact we're going to have to fit another game in somewhere, and again the repercussions of that, which. If another one gets called off, God knows. Get in touch in the usual ways. Twitter, RUFC_pod. Facebook, Podcast. Instagram, RUFC_pod. And the email address is rufcpod@gmail.com. If you want to get involved with any of the auto windscreen memories type thing, either email us or direct messages and we'll give you a way for you to send those. If we're looking for audio clips for it, so we can play it out through the podcast as and when that happens. If you've got any thoughts on that, let us know. Ben, thoughts?
Yeah.
I agree. So thank you very much. Please subscribe on YouTube. We're coming up to 175 subscribers on YouTube. That's gone up massively over the past week or two. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed there and is watching the episode on YouTube. Please like the episode as well. Give it a thumbs up. Just underneath, and if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or wherever, please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes anyway, to let everybody know that you think it's doing all right. Mick, have I missed anything? I think I've got everything there, Anna.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I can't think of anything else, but we've covered this already, haven't we? So.
Yeah, we have. That's true. So yeah, thank you very much, Ben. You've been positive today. It's been all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mick, thank you for wearing your Rotherham stuff and your Rotherham flag. That's more effort than Ben's made.
Well, look at background. None of that.
Yeah, that flag's up every day. Mick's made the effort to put the flag up.
Exactly. It's fake. I'm a real one.
Listen, you know when
I've
this
had that
finishes.
I've had that up since the day I moved into this room. Oh, the three I can remember. So I mix that all up. 10 minutes.
Whose flag is it?
That's not the point, is it?
Well-
Bear in mind that 10 minutes after this this finishes, that my wife will make me take this flag back down again.
Well, my footy towel background is a semi-permanent fixture in my kitchen.
I love it.
Somehow.
I love it.
So it's not massively popular with a wife, but sacrifice you make. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Please get in touch with anything you want us to talk about and things like that, and we'll see you all on bright and early for another week on Monday morning.
Pringle looking towards Agard. Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it!